Hey y'all, Jessie Petersen here with Let's Make Art. I'm an art journalist. I like to make art with journals and mixed media. I just had a minute where I was like, art journalist. Can I say that? Art journaler?
I like art journalist.
This is Keaton here behind the camera, cheering us on. And we have a fun project for you. This is called HeART-work with the emphasis on art. HeART-work? Oh, I like it.
I don't know if they can hear that, but I'm trying to make a heart beating sound.
Pretty cool. So this is one of those projects that we're just gonna have fun experimenting. We're gonna use a straw to kind of blow paint around like we're a kid again. And we're gonna explore in the journaling some things that we thought about doing when we were younger that we wanted to do when we grew up, and maybe those are things that we totally forgot about, and they might be something that we want to pursue now that we're grown up. So just kind of a fun project to just experiment and have a good time with. So I'm really excited to do this with you. The prompt that we're using that I described is called Reflections. So if you're you've got the subscription box, you can look at that, or you can just follow along with us with the supplies you have. We are going to use these supplies. I'm so excited. So we're going to use this Dylusions London Blue Shimmer Spray, and we are going to use this Peony Blush paint. And we're going to use this Distress crayon, and that's how we're going to get some of this kind of highlighted color in there. We're going to use our collage paper that we can cut this cute writing out, and we're going to journal on these places here, and we're just kind of wing it. It kind of turns out different every time, and that's totally okay. We're just experimenting, and we're having a good time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to put that aside, grab out this journal, got a blank. I'm like, what's that? Oh, it's the note that we did from last time. I'm like, there's something in there. Note to myself. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's another video that we did with that.
Really fun
Passing
project.
Notes. I just got my subscription box out that just came in, and I'm gonna put my journal in there so I can use this spray and not get it on everything. But if there's anything that you're working with that you're like, I don't want that spray on there, then move it along, get it over there. Actually, you know what might be fun, because this might seem scary, is we do a little practice test.
Oh,
a little
cool.
test. So let's just take our journal out for a second. We'll put our paper in here and we'll do a little test, because yeah, this is fun, but it might be a little intimidating to just get crazy in your journal page, because I know you like your journals, but our journals are for fun. Okay, it's not a good spot, right?
It's a great spot, actually.
Okay, I'm gonna test my Dylusions London Blue spray on my palette first. Yep, that's spraying fine. I haven't had any problems with this clogging or anything like that, but I'm sure if it did, you could probably just run it under hot water or something. But these are just excellent art supplies. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna spray a little bit of our spray onto our page, okay? And for our heart, we might, when we do it in our journal, we might want to do like 2 sprays. Yeah, that's looking good to me. And then we're gonna get our brush a little wet, and we're gonna drop some water on there, and we're gonna see about kind of just moving this paint around with the water with a straw. Okay, so this is our practice, no big deal, and we're just experimenting. I'm gonna pick up my page and I'm gonna get my straw, and I'm gonna try to blow these a little bit. Now, I think I want some more pigment in there. So I can just move this pigment into those spots that we did, the water. Now this is just regular cardstock paper. Our journal paper is gonna act a little bit better with that. That's okay. And you can also kind of force the puddle into a spot, you know, if you're really wanting to be deliberate about where your I want to say ventricles, but I think that's the wrong word for the heart veins.
Let me Google it for you, because I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not a heart expert. I'm a heart expert, you know, with the art part. But. Oh yeah. depending on how much water you use is how thick this is going to be. And the cool thing is, if you want this to split, then you can kind of take this water and kind of force it like that. And make it split that way. Did that show up on camera okay, the way that I was holding it and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our practice page. So that's just, you can have fun pushing the paint around with your straw and whatnot and see how that works for you. And then you can do it in your journal. But I'm just gonna go for it because it's gonna be cool no matter what.
It is.
All right. So let's get our journal in here. And I would suggest not putting your clamps on so that the spray can really get everywhere. Did you find out what those heart things are called?
Yes and no. So
Just gonna grab a sip of water while you're doing that.
there are a lot of names. I looked for heart anatomy and it's just so detailed.
Yeah? Just
But
a
we
lot
have,
to know.
like, arteries, valves, atrium.
I bet
this
these-
vena cava.
Oh yeah.
They might just be veins.
Yeah. And I'm not even sure this is anatomically correct. We're just having a good time. It's
It
all right.
looks cool.
All right, so let's go for it. We're gonna put the spray in. I'm gonna start about right here. What is this, like 4 or 5 inches?
Sure.
And then I'm gonna get back and just put a little bit. Whoa, yeah, that was cool.
Ooh.
All right, got a little crazy. I like it, I like it. Okay, let's hurry and get some water in here. I'm actually just gonna try to decide a little bit where I want these guys to go. And then I'm just gonna go for it and try to push that water with the straw a little more because that might be fun. Because what's cool about not painting it and using the straw is kind of how it comes out more organic, if that makes sense.
Like free flowing.
Yeah, like
rather
you don't
than
know where it's gonna.
controlled.
Right, exactly. Oh, that was a good one. And if you got a lot of things to write, you can do a lot. If you got a couple of things that you want to write about, then you can do a couple. Okay, this one right here is a good one to try to get it to split. So I'm gonna just push that like that, and then see if I can get it to go that way. Oh yeah, that worked.
Nice.
Should we do another split one? Maybe
Maybe that one on the.
this one? Is that the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
you're thinking?
I was gonna either say that one or the next one up.
Oh.
Or
yeah.
down, depending on how you rotate.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know what you're saying. Oh, that one didn't want to do it. Okay, we gotta go with one you like. That's gonna be the ticket right there. I'm just gonna drop in a little bit more. Let's see if we can get that guy to connect. There we go. And I'm just dipping more of the pigment in there, but you can also just drip a little bit of paint. And you can see how this paper holds up better than our test paper already. It's doing better. Okay, let's get this in there. All right, and then we're gonna do a split. A little more water, a little more pigment. And you can get like more precise with this if you like, or just go for it. It's fine. I like it.
Nice.
We got a little blotchy down here. So I think because I did that, maybe I just want a little bit more color down here just to weight the paper and have that look cool too.
Yeah, that does look cool.
You know, so that's what I meant about it just kind of turns out different every time. That's okay. You kind of put a couple more up here. And then we'll give this a few seconds to dry. And I think we could probably push that one out a little bit more. See, I'm always like, yeah, we're done. No, wait, just kidding, never mind. It's like, okay, when you think that you're done and then you're just like, I'm gonna try that. Oh yeah, that's what it needed. That's what it needed. Okay, let's give this a minute or two to dry. That's the hardest part. If you need to get a snack or stretch, then do that. We'll be right back. Okay, this is looking dry and extra shiny and shimmery. Yes, I'm liking it. Can I get move our box out of the way? So Keaton kind of fast forwarded the drying for us with a heat gun, and if you want to do that, just be mindful of these little spots here, because if it's still wet and your blow dryer or your heat gun hits it, then it might be moving those pathways that you were trying to create around. But if it's looking, yeah, it's good. Okay, so our next step is going to be, we're going to trace this heart shape right onto there with our graphite paper. So that's going to be fun.
I honestly thought you had free-handed that, and I was so impressed.
Well, I did the first time.
Oh, well, see?
But nobody else has to.
That's so nice.
Okay, so kind of gonna, you know, just how, it doesn't have to be perfect. And this splotch that we made with the stuff, you know, it's not perfect either. So just kind of look at it and say, that looks like a good spot for it. And just go for it. I think that's gonna be a good spot for me. I didn't bring any, oh, there is tape in here. I just love that. So this is nice to have so that your art doesn't move around too much while you're trying to get it all on there. Because once, if it moves while you're trying to draw, it's really hard to get it to line back up. Okay, so I'm gonna put that there, and then I'm gonna put my graphite paper shiny side down. Okay, and we're gonna trace that wholeheartedly.
Wholeheartedly?
We got some jokes today, you know?
Yeah, we do.
A little tired, but we got jokes.
Could you sit back a little bit?
I would love to sit back.
Nice, thank you.
I'm gonna relax while I work on this HeART-work.
HeART-work.
HeART. Now, the harder you press, the darker your line's gonna be, and we really need this to be a little darker to show up on our blue. Matter of fact, at this juncture, you could look under and see, is my arm? Yeah, they're coming through. They're looking good.
Nice.
And this is a fresh piece of graphite paper, so if you want dark lines, that is the way to go. And sometimes I'll use a different color pen or whatever to know where I drew on here, so if that helps you, you can do that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's still gonna read as like a heart shape, you know?
Oh, totally.
Sorry, I got into concentration mode.
Yeah, it's focused. It's focused on.
Just want to make sure I get all the lines on there. Then we're just going to go back over our pencil lines and do a darker pen over that, which will be nice. Just make sure I got all the, well, I can tell because my pencil is a little shiny where I got my lines for the most part and where I didn't. Missing one right there. This one. And that one. I think we got it. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, let's get our pen. And we can just start outlining that. And this is like one of those, just enjoy the time you're spending working on this so you could get a little chill music, you know?
You want to sit back a little? Thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh, what kind of music? Do you listen to music when you art?
I do.
What kind of music do you listen to? Like some gangster rap or?
I mean, I've been known to listen to a little gangster rap, you know? But it's not normally my go-to when I'm trying to, like, you know, chill.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like music without lyrics, so I can kind of just concentrate and get in the zone. Other times I really like those lyrics, especially if I'm working on something nostalgic. So for this, I think either way would be good, but it might be fun to listen to something that conjures up childhood memories.
Oh.
Because we're going to be journaling about what we wanted to do when we grew up, what we thought when we were a kid, right?
Right. I grew up listening to classics with my mom and dad.
What kind of classics? I'm going to turn this so
Well,
it's easier
here's
to
the
draw.
thing. I don't remember song names or lyrics. I only remember tunes. But,
Oh. So you could just like hum it for us?
well,
I'm putting them on the spot, y'all.
so as I've gotten older, the things I like to listen to when I want to feel or be creative are stuff like Frédéric Chopin. And because I love dissonance in music, and I love harmonies, and I love minor keys.
Okay, now if someone's not like a music major, what does dissonance mean?
Okay, before I butcher the definition, let me get it up for you, because it's...
Okay, while you're looking that up.
So dissonance is a lack of harmony among musical notes.
Oh, it sounded like that's what that meant, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yes. So it's a clash, a tension or clash resulting from the combination of two disharmonious or unsuitable elements. But it just kind of invokes certain kinds of feelings that, for me, turn creative. And some people get tired listening to it. I get very amped up.
I really like listening to movie soundtracks when I'm painting and drawing, like favorite movies. I have Interstellar and Contact and those kind of sort of spacey movies. Music that I listened to when I was a kid with my dad and my mom. I grew up on the Gulf Coast in Mississippi, and so Jimmy Buffett really like makes me think of being on the boat, going get some redfish with my dad, fishing in the barrier islands with his friend on the sailboat. Many a time we listened to Jimmy Buffett on the way to the races in Mobile, Alabama. Good times, that's one of the things that I wanted to be when I was older. I was a race car driver.
What?
Yeah. Because why not? Why
would you not want to be a race car driver?
I remember the first time my dad took me to the races. Well, I went a lot. I don't remember the first time, but I remember the first time I saw a lady race car driver. She was from Texas, and I just thought she was so cool. And my dad was friends with a lot of the guys that worked on the cars in the pits, you know, where they go to fix stuff.
Yeah.
And so afterwards, we'd walk around and talk to all the race car drivers. And one of them was putting their car on the trailer and asked me if I wanted to ride in the car, in the trailer on the way back to their, you know, their big rig, their truck and stuff.
No way.
So I got to ride in the trailer in the car, in the race car driver's seat.
Dang, that's cool.
Imagining I was driving a race car.
Her.
Yeah, I got to be her for like a minute.
That is excellent.
Which is funny because I'm not really like a great driver or anything, and I kind of am like a little anxious on the highway. But as a kid, man, that was cool. So you know.
That is super cool.
That's one of those things where I definitely got more anxiety about driving, getting older, thinking about getting in an accident and having to spend money on fixing something that I just spent a lot of hard-earned money to buy, you know, like all those kind of things. But as a kid, I'm like, racing, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does.
You know, if you're not first, you last.
That's right, Ricky Bobby.
All right. This is feeling good. Okay, can you see, is that dark enough?
Totally,
Can
looks
see
great.
that on top of the blue? I just worry with a
Yep.
shimmer. Okay.
No, it looks good.
So now we're just going to embellish it. We're going to add some paint, some of this pink paint. We're going to kind of move this a little bit around. It's going to be fun. Okay. So I've just got my round 8 brush. I'm going to just bring some of this color in. Maybe I want to bring that in. Now, I love this distress crayon. It's kind of fun to bring into these situations. Just a little bit of this white, blend that in. Now, if you use this over dry paint, it's going to give you a different vibe than the...
Oh, that's cool looking.
But this kind of swirls in with that other color, gives us a little dimension on top of what we created. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
So I should have brought a darker color paper so I could demo all the things that it does. But it's water soluble. It can work like a regular crayon and you can get some texture. It'll blend more if you smear it around. It's just kind of fun.
I don't know that I fully understand what that is. Is it a marker?
It is not a marker. It's a crayon. So it's a softer than a regular like wax crayon, but it has pigment that is water soluble. So if this was a color, it would move around a lot like the blue does, but because it's white, you know, it's not going to do that as much. But it's just kind of fun to lay on top of other colors and blend and see it react, especially in this situation.
Yeah,
so
that's super cool.
I'm going to do a little bit of that there. And then when we paint our pink in some spots, that'll look really cool. I just thought it would be fun to help give our heart a little more dimension. And I'm just imagining this. I don't actually have like a clear idea in my head about what the heart actually looks like. But if you wanted to pull up a real heart photo and, you know, have a good time studying that and mimicking that, that could be fun.
It's a little more messy.
The real heart?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I meant a photo of a real heart. Is that, were you?
Okay, I see.
Were you picking up what I was putting down though?
Yes.
All right, let's see. So yeah, and it turns out different every time. So this is one of those things where you just go with the flow. We're having a good time. All right, I'm gonna get some of this peony paint. Spent on my palette. Just gonna use my round 8 for this. If you have a smaller brush and you want to get detailed, that's just fine too. Now, when you use the pink on top of the blue, it's still going to activate that other color underneath. So it's probably going to be a little more purpley. And that's okay, because that's kind of cool. And you can go back and forth and do some layers and whatnot. Got a little bit too much water. I want more paint. There we go. See how it kind of picks up that blue behind it?
Mm-hmm. I like that pink color.
This peony.
Peony.
And you can add as little or a lot, just depending on how you're feeling. I'm just washing a little bit of that blue that's mixing in with my pink out each time. But the first time I made this, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to wing it. And it was cool. So I was like, all right. It's just...
Yeah, this looks awesome.
Thanks. It's kind of fun to experiment. You never know. If you try to control everything so much, you don't know where you might end up if you just experiment.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I thought just kind of putting a couple of dots here instead of coloring the whole thing was fun. Because I thought about the edge of that with that ventricle. I'm not sure what that's the technical term for that is.
I'm still not sure either, and I Googled it. I'm no doctor.
Yeah, so if we have some art journalists, see how I'm going to make that a thing, out there who want to teach us about hearts, we would love that.
Specifically this heart.
Yeah. There's a lot of heart in this art.
Yeah, there is. Nailed it.
I know, I thought it was kind of wild and crazy, but
I think it's really fun to look at.
yay. I really like how dark purple that got in there, and it's different than the first time I made it, and I'm into that.
It's such a pretty contrast.
The blue and the pink?
Yeah.
Okay, we got to start thinking about what we're going to journal on here while I'm finishing up these.
Ooh. Okay.
And, you know, the difference between how you felt when you were a kid and you were thinking about what you wanted to be a grown-up and now, you know. You got any thoughts about that?
I do have thoughts about that. You and I actually had a very similar one that I would put down.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because on your original one you wrote down pianist.
Oh, yeah, I did.
And I had some serious plans to be a concert pianist when I was around 12, 13, 14 years old. So that was a goal of mine. I was playing 3 hours per day to learn how to play.
Wow, you were dedicated to that. That's a lot of work.
I was very dedicated. Looking back, it was, there are some difficulties doing that day in and day out.
I bet. I mean, you probably had to give up other things in order to spend that kind of time practicing and...
Well, I was homeschooled, so I didn't have a whole lot going on. So it was
you had more flexibility that way.
Yeah, so I had a lot more flexibility that way, and it wasn't that bad. So I didn't have to give up a whole lot, and I could still... I'm a big fan of sports, so, you know.
So ultimately, did you kind of want to do sports more than piano? Is that?
Yeah, I got influenced away from piano over time because it was it wasn't necessarily considered cool, and
what's not cool about playing piano?
No, now it is. Now I wish I wasn't. You know, now if I were to write myself a letter to back then, I would say, listen, just keep playing piano, don't give up. But I was also at a level that I could no longer, what's the word, just kind of skate by, because my 3 hours of practice was very easy for me because piano came very quickly for me. But I was at a point when I was practicing 3 hours a day that I was learning things that were very complex and playing pieces of music that were anywhere from 3 to 11 pieces of paper, double-sided, and difficult. So it was just harder. When I was 14, so I was like, you know what? It's easier to go shoot some hoops.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I did.
I just didn't have access to a piano, which is why I didn't. But I did have, this is so funny, I had a 8-track in my bedroom.
Wow. Yeah.
And I listened to The Entertainer like a lot. And I would pretend that my bed was piano and I'd try to play it.
That is awesome.
Oh.
That's called imagination and inspiration.
I was real talented in my head. I was like really just killing that bed keyboard.
That is awesome.
I just thought I'm going to add a little water to this so see what it has. So it's looking different than the other one, but I just thought, why not?
There's actually a quote you shared. I don't remember the app you were telling me about. Is it Breathe? No.
Oh, the Calm app.
Calm app. You played a thing for me that Matthew McConaughey was speaking, which is a great voice to just listen to.
So I've been telling Keenan sometimes I have trouble sleeping at night, and I listened to this, and I was telling him about the Matthew McConaughey one.
Yeah. So Matthew McConaughey, his story he was telling is called Wonder. But in the beginning, before he starts the story, he tells about who he was working with on a specific set for a movie, and he ties in childhood wonder before he starts the story about wonder. He tells us a little bit about how, as children we looked at a ladybug and we were filled with all of this wonder, and they were amazing, and everything was so curious, and we were willing to explore and be creative and imaginative. And he said, this is my favorite part, he said, as we get older, I call it, we learn worse.
So good.
And the concept behind that is so much fun. If we could just tap back into our childhood and keep that sense of wonder and learn better rather than learn worse, I feel like life would be so much more peaceful.
Yeah. Because I can see that in my kids when they get excited about, we have these big bullfrogs that come out after the rain on our driveway, and they want to catch them. And it's like they won the lottery when they come out, they're just so pumped. And I just love that kind of excitement. And and then we learn worse. And they're like, yeah, there's the bullfrogs that came out when it rains.
Inevitably, we learn worse.
But, okay, so I started journaling these. He was explaining that, and that's so perfect, because you can be thinking about that momentary wonder while you're doing this. And if some of these are things that you haven't thought about in a long time, like I haven't thought about being a race car driver in quite a while. If that's something you think that you need to bring back in your life, maybe I could. Keenan was telling me that they have race cars like kind of close to us. Where?
In Iowa. So you can go, there's a track, I don't know the name of the track, and it's more of a track, it's a raceway, but you can contact them and set up an appointment and go drive a race car on the track.
One of the things I think that would be so fun. One of the things I wanted to do when I grew up was an artist, but a lot of people try to talk me out of it. So I pursued other things, and I just continued to be an artist anyway. So it's funny, the things that we get stuck on and things that we let people talk us out of as we were growing up and trying to make decisions. Let's see, I had a couple others on here I was going to add. Oh, snake charmer.
Snake charmer?
Oh, yeah. I wanted to be a snake charmer. I thought that was so wild.
That is awesome.
I don't know how you go about that.
I have no idea.
But if you know, I think I would be into that. I just think there are some people who are just great with animals in general, and I always thought that would be cool.
I always wanted to be a professional athlete.
I think I wrote horticulturist on here. I'm going to put.
Oh, you did?
That, and
I didn't even know what that was.
Well, it's a fancy word for gardener. Maybe I'll just write that.
Gardener.
Yeah, so you can just keep going, and you could even go back and add some more if you find that, man, I don't have enough places to write. You could go back and add more. And I think I'm going to cut this from our collage paper really quickly and put that on there. And this looks like a little more sparse than the first one I did, so you could go back in and even like hit it with some spray. Maybe we'll do that, because I don't want you to be afraid to add to it.
Yeah.
But then we'll have to wait for that to dry. That'll be all right.
Do you want to glue that piece on first and then
well,
spray?
then it would be on top of my. It's all right. It's gonna be fine.
That's true.
Who's gonna do this? Ooh, that's cool. That big drop, I like that. I'm gonna put a little bit down here too. Oh yeah. So whatever you want, like to do to even out your page, if you're feeling it needs a little bit of something, you can do that. Now I got a water droplet here and there, which is nice because it balances it out. And I like to have 3s of everything, so I think I need another one right here. It's 3, as far as composition goes, kind of helps balance things out. 3, 5, 7. So that's cool.
3, 5, 7.
And then you could also use this negative space in here for some more journaling if you have thoughts about things you wanted to do when you grew up. You could do that. I'm going to bring over I cut this from the bottom of our paper from last time when we did passing notes. So I'm just gonna grab this, cut that out. And there's a little tiny gray line around that to make it easy to cut out. So you can do that with scissors or an X-Acto. When Keenan saw this first, he said, HeART?
HeART?
I was like, I was trying to emphasize the art in heart. But you can call it HeART if you want.
Yeah.
I'm not here to tell you. Oh, there's that air conditioner again.
Yes. It's got a problem.
It just wants us to know it's there. And you know what? My air conditioner at home has been acting up. And just hearing that go on makes me so grateful that there is an air conditioner and we have it and it's not hot. So that's okay. Something to be happy about. So I'm gonna glue that right there, and that spot's almost dry, so it's gonna work out perfect. Get our Yes paste. I know it's right here. Oh, there it is. Snuck over to the other side. Do your art supplies move around when you're working? Did they drop on the floor and you had no idea? I just want to know that, because I feel like I'm always like, where did that go?
It's usually like after detail mode when something disappears.
Yeah, especially these tiny little pieces of paper. I'm like, all right, I know I just had it. I haven't got up for an hour. It has to be right here. It didn't take it to the kitchen. Inevitably, I get up out of frustration and it falls out of my lap onto the floor. I'm like, oh, that's where it was. Yeah, it's right there.
Nice.
I love that Yes piece because you can move it around if you want to, but I think that just landed in a good spot. Okay, we did it.
Nice.
We made HeART-work.
HeART-work.
I hope you enjoyed making this with us. I sure had fun. I love being here with you and creating and seeing what you make. And I'm always inspired by the different journal pages that end up coming out of a little bit of inspiration or prompts that we work with here. So if you'd like to see more inspiration and more versions of this, you can check out our Facebook group, Let's Make Art Journals, or check out the hashtag on Instagram, Let's Make Art and Let's Make Art Journals. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next time.